Okay, so for this contour drawing, I'm doing a dead leaf and I'm going to be inking it. So I'm going to sketch it out in pencil first. And just like our normal steps, the first thing I'm going to do is start with my outline. I'm doing this in my sketchbook because I have a sketchbook with nicer paper, and the Uniball pen that I'm going to use, it tends to bleed quite a bit. So I didn't want to do it on regular printer paper or copier paper because the ink would bleed a little bit too much on it, and I wouldn't have much control. And the reason I'm using the Uniball pen, which is this one right here, is because you guys don't have art pens like I do. So I wanted to use the same thing that you guys would have to use if you wanted to ink your nature contour drawing. Uh, you know, the nice thing about the art pens is they come in different widths. So you can have a point 0.5, a point 0.7, a point 0.1, or you can have really tiny ones like 0.25s for really thin lines. Um, the reason I use those when I illustrate stuff is this way I have more control over how thin and thick my lines are. If I have details I want to be thinner, I can do thinner lines. But for this assignment, it's just a quick contour drawing, and this is for the organic contour drawing that you guys are supposed to do. And so there I am just sketching it out. And again, I use a darker pencil than I normally do for sketching, simply so the camera can catch it. Um, but again, like there's a little error on there, and it won't erase. The pencil marker is just way too dark, and I can't get it off the paper. And I'm just going through and adjusting. So what I looked at is I looked at my angles. I didn't like the angle that I had drawn on there, so I restarted it, and I can still see the ghost of the bad lines that I drew. Um, So I erase those. I can still see the ghosts, and then I use those to kind of judge. Okay, where's my corrections at? Where do I need to change my lines? And then now I'm just gonna lightly indicate. I'm not even gonna fully draw what I want. I'm just gonna indicate where I'm gonna ink. This video is just under 8 minutes, and I sped it up 3 times as fast as I was drawing. So this was about a 21-minute video, or 22-minute video originally before I sped it up. And then I'm going to do another one for you guys, which is going to be a little bit longer. And I'll go over that process too. So I wanted to do two of these. I wanted to do different things, different sizes. So this is a leaf. And I put the leaf in front of me underneath the camera. You can't see it, but it's right underneath the camera. In fact, here's the leaf that I drew. So this is what I was looking at, and I had it right underneath the camera. One thing I do when I'm inking is if I see like any type of small details that I might have not put down with the pencil, I don't even bother. I just wait for the pen. And then as I'm inking, I'm still looking at that leaf that I drew. I'm still comparing my sketch to how the leaf looks. And then anything I feel that I need to add extra, I do it. The one thing that I have a hard time with is just keeping it strictly contour lines, because I see some details and values that I can put in with hatching or cross hatching. we're going to get into that later. We're going to do that for your final project, and before we do our final inked project, we will have some practice drawings. And when we do that, then we can start adding texture. We can start adding additional embellishments to our line art. But for this is just a simple, straight up contour drawing. Again, I try to hold the pen as far back as I can so I have more control and a greater range of motion. But it's really difficult to try to keep everything underneath the camera. I'm literally drawing away from my body, which is not ideal. The one nice thing about drawing organic things like leaves, any living object, is nature's not perfect. There's a lot of inconsistencies, so you don't have to worry about having uh, perfect lines, perfect curves, perfect straight lines. They don't exist in nature. So that gives you a little bit of freedom to what you can do. And this is about done. What I'm doing is I'm going through and adding that holding line. I'm making certain areas thicker where I want emphasis to be at. And again, remember, line variation can take a very flat drawing and make it pop. So you always want to think about at the very end, okay, what can I do to make this stand out a little bit? Where could I add some line variation? Where can I add some thicker holding lines? And then just go in and finish that off. Now I'm just erasing, cleaning up my pencil marks. When you ink, give yourself about 30-40 seconds before you start erasing, because some of the pens, they are still wet, and if you try to erase it, you're going to get the ink. Okay?